Hello, traders. So, in today's session, I want to cover how to manage a trade using OptionStrat. So, what I mean by manage is many traders have asked me about, well, if I put on a trade, let's say you put on a live trade in your account. This happens to be a live trade that I've got going right now. It's a butterfly in the rut. And then if you make adjustments to this trade, how do you do that in OptionStrat? How do you kind of follow along and have kind of a running P&L, if you will, that keeps track of your open and closed segments of the trade? So it can get a little bit tricky and it requires some precision on your part, but let me walk you through the process here. So the first thing you have to do is when you open this trade, it's important that you go specifically to wherever you executed your trade and you get your very specific fill prices. So, for example, you can see this is a 10 lot butterfly in rut. These are the strikes that I use. This is an all put butterfly. But I need to now click on each one of these and I need to come in and make certain that I put my actual price at the time that I opened this leg of the trade. I put my price in here. So this is the price that in this case I paid for these 10 options at this specific leg. Now, I need to do that for each of these legs. I need to come in and specifically spell out what I took in, my cost basis on selling these 20 legs. And of course, I need to do the same for these up here. Once I put a price in there, you'll notice that there's a little dollar sign there. Now, let me just show you what that looks like before and after. So in addition to this butterfly, our market has been very, very bullish. So I didn't want a butterfly that was going to have risk to the upside. So in this particular case, I also added an option where I bought a long call, and I bought that long call up at 21.40. And see, it automatically defaults to 10. I did not buy 10 long calls. I only bought one long call. So I need to unlink these legs and I need to take this down to just the one that I bought. But you'll see right now there's not a dollar sign in there. There's a little asterisk that shows that there's wider bid-ask spreads. And I know that this is rut. Rut does have wider bid-ask spreads. And again, I'm already aware of that. But let's come in and put in my exact price here. So I bought one of these, and my price that I paid for this was $15.90. So I need to put that in here too. So $15.90. So you see now it's got a dollar sign there. So this is my actual trade right now as it exists. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this now that I've got all of my numbers put in there exactly as I wanted them. And I actually opened this trade a while back, so you don't have to do this at the exact time you open the trade. You can do this at any time. And so I'm just going to put in here SJG butterfly. So that's the trade that I'm in right now. This trade is up, $700-800, something along those lines. And again, one of the awesome things about OptionStrat is I can play all the what ifs. What if a volatility drops further? Well, this trade's going to become more profitable quickly. What happens as time marches forward in the trade? All of those different things are things that I can easily model out, which of course is the value of OptionStrat. But now let's talk about the adjustment part. So you already saw me do one adjustment where I came in here and I added in this particular long call. So that was essentially kind of an adjustment. But I haven't thinned anything out of this trade yet. So let's take a look at what happens or how if I maybe start to get some profitability in this trade, which I've done, and I want to thin out a couple of my butterflies, essentially kind of locking in profit on a couple of those flies. How would that work, or how would I go about doing that? All right, so now that I have all of my entry prices set correctly throughout these various options, and some time has gone by to where this is starting to, the theta is starting to decay. and this is generating some profit in the trade. In this case, it's showing 1,300, 1,400, 1,100. It bounces all over with RUT specifically because of the wider bid-ask spreads. I should also note that that is the reading here as of today. I actually closed out 2 of these butterflies a little while ago, so when I plug those numbers in, it's going to show a little bit lower profit than this. So, and I can go and do this at any time. So basically, again, I opened up this butterfly some time ago, and at this point, I want to thin 2 of those, locking in some profit. So how do I go about doing that? This is the whole management part of this process where right now, all of my gains are unrealized gains. Well, I want to thin this out a little bit, which is going to reduce my overall risk in the trade because I'll be taking 2 of these 10 butterflies out of the mix, and I will be locking in some profits. So then we'll have some realized gains, meaning that those particular positions are closed. So how do I go about doing this? Well, I'll come into each individual strike, and I have to know my closing price here. I'm going to come in and I'm going to sell to close. And in this case, I sold 2 butterflies. So of this particular 1890, I sold those 2 at 27.84. So I need to select here that I closed 2 of them, and I did that at 27.84 was my closing price. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to sell to close. Now, you see this shows up in brown. Brown indicates that a segment of those are closed. You can see that I changed to only 8 of these are open now. So I have to do the same process here. But of course, this being a butterfly, and I have double the number of short options, I have to close 4 of them. So I'm going to buy to close, and there's going to be 4 of these that are going to buy to close. My closing price here was $49.77. So $49.77, and we can see that's how my profit gets generated here. I sold these originally for $51.97. I'm buying them back for $49.77. So I'm going to go ahead, buy to close those, and you can see we dropped down to 16 of those now, and 8 of these. Still got 10 of these, so I need to take out 2 of these. So the 2030s sell to close, 2 of them. And I sold those at 84.71, so I need to change that in here, 84.71. Now, in this case, I'm actually taking a little bit of a loss because I bought these for $86, and I'm basically selling them back for $84. But that's how a butterfly works, is we're looking for the decay to take place in these options, and because we have double the number of these than what we have on the outside edge, and because these were closer to the money when sold, these are going to tend to decay a little faster. So we're going to sell those to close, and you'll now see that we have realized gains of 116, and we have unrealized gains of 981. And we can see the brown indicates that some of these legs have closed portions to them. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to save this trade, and I'm just going to overwrite the existing. And what I will often do is come in and make a little note here that on 2/7/2024, thinned to butterfly. And then I'll just overwrite that existing trade. So then we come to view that saved trade here, and we can look right here at this trade. And again, open it up, we get all the details on it. So that's how you go about managing a trade and then tracking both your open gain. So this is going to continue to change here as the price of the underlying changes. The price of the butterfly, if you will, changes. This is going to be locked in at this point. So I've essentially locked that in. I've reduced my risk slightly here. It was a little more than 11,000, or it was around 12.5, I think. Now we're about 11.5 because I took out 2 of those 10 butterflies.